console war for those 2
They
years. What were the
And-
things that caused them to win?
I mean, for me, what brought me into this story and why I chose to tell it in that narrative nonfiction style was started off with Tom Kalinske. He was the president and CEO of Sega of America from 1990 to 96. He joined in October, so the Genesis had been out in America for a year. And when I first spoke with Tom, before I even got to his time at Sega, I realized that this guy had a bigger influence on my childhood than anybody else, other than my parents. Just, we've been discussing that he helped develop the Flintstones Kids chewable vitamins, and then he went to Mattel and he resurrected the Barbie doll line, which was declining in sales for the first time ever, and then he did for boys what Barbie did for girls and helped develop He-Man Masters of the Universe, and then there was other toys along the way like Popples, which I always have a special place in my heart
Popples
for.
were awesome.
Yeah.
Popples
And
were
it's
right. And you had Boglins.
I don't remember Boglins.
Boglins were those ones you put your hands in. They're kind of gross.
Yeah. And so this guy, he's telling me these stories and he's saying it matter-of-factly, not in a condescending or arrogant way, but it was just like that was his life. He lived this. And this was all before he even got to Sega, which more than any other product totally dominated and shaped my childhood. So him coming in, I think, is the first major step in that direction of bridging the gap. And, there was a lot of factors that led to Sega's success that had nothing to do with Tom or a little bit to do with Tom, including Sonic, which he helped develop. But, he didn't make the game, and a whole great team around him. But lightning doesn't strike that many times in a person's life that you go to 5 different companies and turn them around. There's something special about him, and he brought that magic to Sega. And so one of the first watershed moments that is sort of where the first act of the 5 acts in the book ends is with him making this pilgrimage to Japan after he's sort of gotten his feet wet, saw what he got into, saw that this is nothing like any of the other companies he's joined, and it's a ragtag squad, and he delivered a 4-point plan to the board of Sega of Japan.
I might need to interrupt there.
Yeah.
In 7 seconds, we have a station identification message, so in case you didn't know what you were watching...
Twin Galaxies.
It's all up in there.
Crazy.
But please do continue your discussion. I'm sorry to
No,
to
it's fine.
interrupt.
It's important to identify your station. So Tom delivered this 4-point plan, and one of the ideas was including Sonic bundled with the Genesis, which at the time had Altered Beast, and he was surprised was included and had been hearing that people thought it was devil worship. And
Yeah, I got the Genesis with Altered Beast.
But you liked devil.
Yeah,
worshiping.
well, my mom, she's Hispanic. She's like, she's from Guadalajara. She's like, es satánico.
Yeah, exactly.
No me gusta, es satánico.
Well, a lot of people didn't gusta it, and
They didn't gusta that at
So
all.
Tom wanted to include their best game and give it away for free because this is a razors and
Right.
razor blades industry, and Sega of Japan thought this was a ridiculous idea, and they chose not to do that, and they thought, maybe the Genesis isn't selling that well, so we may as well make our money on a great software hit, or what we hope is one. So he wanted to do that. He wanted to lower the price. He wanted to go head-to-head in advertising with Nintendo and really take them on, name names. And he also wanted to develop games in America. Up until that point, most, if not all, the games were developed in Sega of Japan. And he wanted there to be more American-themed games, like sports games, and that led to part of the close relationship with Electronic Arts and Sega Sports. And so he delivered this message to a room full of Japanese board members, and they were sort of freaking out, shocked, disappointed that this is the guy that's supposed to help our small subsidiary in America compete. And they said, no way, that these were terrible ideas. And sort of Hayao Nakayama, who is the head of Sega Enterprises, stood up, and when he stands up, everyone sits down and they're quiet. And he said, I don't agree, or he said, no one in this room agrees with anything you've said, Tom. And he personally didn't necessarily agree, but he said, this is why I hired you, to take risks and to do things your way so you can do it.
Yeah.
And they did it. And they did a great job.
Yeah.
And it was things like that, these board meetings 5,000 miles away, that led to me getting a Genesis and, having all these friendships and losing all these friendships over that, and just spending my entire childhood. We were talking, just a few minutes ago about how Miami Vice was sort of the show that defined the 80s.
Yeah.
And I think Sonic and Mario, and specifically the Genesis, defined the 90s, or at least the
It had
first
that
5 years.
attitude. Because when you think of like early 90s, you think of like the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
You think of Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you think of stuff like that had like attitude. You
Yeah.
think of like those neon spray painted walls, right? Like Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Definitely.
And the Genesis had that. Those advertisements were straight out of MTV.
Yeah.
They were like Sega, and they were crazy, and they were manic, and they were right out of MTV.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, like Nintendo was going for like the colorful younger audience, and Sega went after a high school and college crowd.
And part of the reason, someone could say, devil's advocate, why do we care about this story today, especially someone who has no affiliation? And there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is this battle really changed and transformed the video game industry to a different demographic of teens and adults, and it made it mainstream. And as much credit as Sega deserves, like part of that was just because that was their only competitive advantage, because Nintendo had such a stranglehold on kids 6 to 12 that Sega was like, well, we have no chance with that, so we may as well go after the scraps and start trying to turn people into gamers. And the average age today of the gamers in their mid-30s, and some of that's just the aging.
With the original NES, didn't you like trade the cartridges with your friends?
Yeah,
like I remember trading like Goonies 2 with Friday the 13th, and like some of the games that were like not that great. Of course, you would hold on to like the marquee games. But like you would always. We gotta get playing. We gotta play. Some games.
I'm just changing it to Nintendo and or Sega to make it relevant to our conversation.
We would always trade games with our neighbors, and then when you beat the game, you trade the game back. But it just felt like they were almost like what kids are doing with Pokemon today. It's like you used to trade cartridges, but we were young, and then once you get older and you have to buy them for yourself, you're not trading them. You're selling them back to GameStop for $5.
Yeah. It was amazing how unattainable games were back then. It is a little bit funny too that you really had to choose sides. You were Sega or Nintendo, and nowadays people still choose sides, even though I think more people would be likely to have Xbox 360 and PS3, or even the 2 new consoles. Even though they're like 3 times as more expensive or twice as more expensive. But like as a kid, like you could only get it for maybe a birthday, maybe Hanukkah, Christmas.
Yeah.
So like you had to be very strategic about it. So you had to sometimes play Moneyball and trade with your friends and get rid of Goonies 2 and get Friday the 13th.
Well, to answer Red Wolf's question, like statement, I absolutely traded my neighbor Jeff Chang Friday the 13th for like a superior game, and I was racked with
Jeff
guilt.
On the line?
He's still bitter about it. He called me earlier today.
Do not talk to Jeff Chang. Jeff Chang joined the fucking military. Jeff Chang will whip my ass. And did I tell you I traded an Amiga system for the Sega CD?
Yeah.
And like the family's Amiga computer, I traded it for.
But that's
a Sega
like some
CD.
Moneyball shit, because that was like you're like, I want to get this bigger, stronger, faster thing, and sort of get people to buy.
I wanted to see girls in their nightgowns in Night Trap. I wanted to see the girls in Night Trap. And so I traded the Amiga, and I was like, "What, Mom? It's just a video game." But there are a couple parts why Jen and why the viewers have to read this game, this book. Is there are a couple parts that I thought were fascinating that I had no idea happened. The first off was the backstory behind the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like just reading.
Oh, you sold me. You have sold me already.
I mean, it's like 3 or 4 pages. It's like it's of a much bigger book.
It is as far down as you get into development hell. Like that is
holy shit. This movie could have been so awesome.
Yeah.
Because the marquee talent that was interested and got passed on by Nintendo, multiple Oscar award winners. Not to say anything against Bob Hoskins, but the people who were up for the role of Mario were incredible, and the people who were supposed to write and direct the Mario movie were incredible. And it just kept eroding. And as you're reading it, it's like a horror movie. As you're reading that chapter, you're like, holy shit, they started out with gold. The Mario movie could have been awesome, and then it slowly just started going to hell, and you're sitting there reading this just like, oh my god, how much worse could this get?
And the worst part is, like, because that movie was so bad, that has to be a big part of the reason why they haven't done another Mario movie and
there's
nothing
no Metroid.
else. Like, if that movie had been better, if they had just not done every level of hell, every circle there, like, we could be seeing,
the worst.
Let's go see Zelda 7
Let's
tonight.
go see a Zelda movie. Especially when you see, like, Lord of the Rings come out, and you're sitting there watching Lord of the Rings, and you're like, why isn't there a damn Zelda movie?
Yeah.
Why haven't they gotten Peter Jackson and Guillermo del Toro to do a damn Zelda movie? It's like, nope. Sorry. The closest you're going to get is a, what are we getting? We're getting those Dungeons and Dragons movies.
Yeah, or there's like a World of Warcraft movie.
Finally, Duncan Jones is doing World of Warcraft, so I'm excited about that because he's super talented.
Yeah, but like the reason, obviously, a large part of it has to do with how badly that movie bombed. But Nintendo is also just so super controlling, and that sounds like a negative, and to some extent it is. But it's also they were controlling so that you had a specifically fun experience, and hopefully that Peter Jackson would show interest in this, but I can't imagine them being like, here, take the property and shape it in your vision as you have with so many other great films. They would want to be involved every step of the way and hire this writer and get rid of that writer, and then you'd end up with
Mario,
John
the
Leguizamo.
Mario Brothers
Yeah.
movies. Yeah.
Which, really quickly, guys, Forever Player says, I loved the Mario movie. I thought it was the best thing ever when I was young. I think keyword there, when I was young. But also, Moobot is going to be posting a link to buy Blake Harris's book.
Thank
It's
you.
already out. So clicking on that will get you a direct link over to Amazon, where I believe they
I
have
can
a
actually
good
see
price
the
on
money
it.
for going into your pocket
Yeah.
whenever people click on that. Hey,
wallet
It
is
makes that
gonna
noise.
be so
but
It
Blake,
makes the
Blake,
sonic ring
Blake,
noise.
would you ask Forever Player to maybe rewatch the Mario movie as an adult?
Forever Player, please. You can have it on now if there's any
He
way.
likes it now
Well,
because it's nostalgic, but there is no way he's not getting high during that. Like, there's no way
yeah.
he's not just blitzed watching that movie.
Well, I mean, there has to be some sort of beer goggles, weed goggles situation. I watched it while I was writing the book, thinking, "Come on, it can't be that bad."
Yeah.
Or like, my expectations are so low now. Like, how could it just, not be enjoyable? And I turned it off after 20 minutes because, like, I don't care if it's like terrible dialogue or terrible scenes or whatever, but like I have to understand like some semblance of a story. I just have to know like what's going on or what I'm supposed to think is going on. And I felt like every scene it was like a different director like,
Yeah.
all right, here's your new motivation. And you're like, what? Like it's just logically I need some level of logic, but it is fun to rewatch at least, even though it's kind of
Did you see all the Sonic Boom stuff at E3?
yeah.
So, like, at E3, the Sega booth is, like, all Sonic Boom. Because they have a
Oh,
new
yeah, that's
Sonic
right.
game coming
Yes.
out on 3DS, the
And they
Wii
have a TV
U,
show.
new TV show,
Yeah.
new thing of toys, and it's crazy that, like, Sonic almost looked drastically different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, the Sega Japan designed Sonic, and he had, like, a big-breasted babe. He had, like, vampire
Yeah, that was
teeth,
one of
he
the
had
early
fangs.
chapters in the book.
tall
Obviously,
now.
a lot of Sega's successes related to Sonic, and even to this day it is. And the original version of Sonic had fangs. He had that big busty
He had, like,
girlfriend
a
named
rock
Madonna.
guitar.
He was in a band. And Tom Kalinske and his team, particularly Al Nelson and Madeline Schroeder, who's called the mother of Sonic, they worked to soften his image and make things very specifically more like the Ninja Turtles, more like Mickey Mouse. And Sega of Japan wanted that edgier Sonic. And over the years, if you watch, he has sort of evolved from this like rebellious, cute little hedgehog into like a very lanky and spiky and.
Yeah.
Would you say that, like, he's now kind of sucks?
I mean,
Like,
I
the
would say
games-
like
the games aren't
he looks
that
naked to me without Madonna by his side because like they may as well just go all the way.
But like the games have gotten progressively like more mediocre, or they've been mediocre for a while since I guess the Dreamcast. But like you keep praying that like a Sonic
No,
game will
I
be
thought
great,
that
and then
Generations was really good.
every now and then something like Generations will
And
be
that
good.
was that like
You
was when
know?
it hit me in the head with like this is what he used to look like. This is what he looks like now.
Yeah.
That is basically like the Japanese drawing versus the American drawing.
But now you have the Sonic Boom. I'm looking forward to the one on the Wii U. I thought was really good. You know, the one that was basically
Lost World?
Yeah, Lost World, which
Yeah.
was like Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
I like that one.
No, I think they're doing good stuff.
They're back to doing good stuff.
I mean, it
It's
breaks
almost
my
like you had
heart
to
a
bottom
little
out.
to see Sonic and Mario together.
Does it really?
Why?
It does.
But now you can race them against each other.
Yeah.
Then you could smash them together in Smash Brothers.
Because don't you feel like your entire 9th grade English class would have been a lie if you left
Yes,
the
I was a
room
Sonic
and went into the cafeteria and you saw the Montagues and the Capulets hanging out and having a lot of fun?
I feel like
you
that's
need,
like-
like
that's
we
That fight is now Microsoft and Sony's. You know, which is funny.
guess.
Like you know that Nintendo announced those Meebos, right?
Yeah.
The little Skylander-like things that you can put on
Yeah.
your Dreamcast or on your Wii U or your thing. Sony and Xbox have Meebros. They allow you to unlock fraternity badges for your Madden and Call of Duty uniforms.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they're me
awesome.
bros. Yeah, and then when you get in the end zone, you can actually do a keg stand. It allows you to hit on girls online. They're called me bros. That's a exclusive to Twin Galaxies. That hasn't been released anywhere. That exclusive news. Sony, and they're going after the fraternity market with the me bros.
Well, let's actually
caught
talk
on
about
you're
that. Do
lying.
you?
Yeah, I totally made
caught
that
on
up.
That you made that up.
I was really impressed with making-
I was like,
Why the fuck
all
would I
Took me a
right,
few
do
seconds.
that's
I was like, am I
awesome.
stupid?
Sony
But-
and Xbox making me bros. What's up, bro? You like
But
Madden?
Sony and Microsoft are certainly like the two guys in the ring right now. Do
Right.
you feel like this console war has the same cultural and generational impact as
Hell no.
the
Well,
console? And why is
someone
that?
asked
Animal
earlier, it was one of the first questions that we missed because the screen froze, was somebody asked you if you have decided yet who's won the current console war.
I think it's way too early to say.
What's the current console war? The PS3 and the Xbox 360?
I
Is that,
think
is
no,
that we're
no.
ready to call that?
No.
Yeah, that's done.
Yeah.
Now it's the PS4 versus the Xbox
Because
One.
Yeah.
I don't
because
think
like
anyone's
because the
considering
Wii
Nintendo.
ran way ahead of everybody.
Really?
We had the biggest install base by far
Yeah.
than 360 in the. And
Yeah.
that's what people don't realize when they stopped playing their Wii 2 years ago. Was you stopped playing your Wii 2 years ago, but it still was in more homes than the 360 and the PS3 by far.
I did not know that.
By
Fascinating.
far.
I didn't know that was.
And then the
how successful it was,
the
but I knew
360 was
that-
ahead of the PS3, and then the PS3 started gaining ground back. But the Wii won, like weirdly enough.
But what do you think of the Wii U?
I love my Wii U.
Yeah,
I
me
love my
too.
Mario Kart 8.
How
I like
many
my Wind
friends
Waker
have the
HD.
Wii U though?
I do not have a lot of friends. I gotta play Grand Theft Auto 5 to have my friends. I have to play on my
Yeah.
PS3 to have my friends. You know,
It's tough.
but I get every console because that's what being a gamer is all about. I get every console, but the
Yeah.
Vita. But I get every console, you know. But that's what being a gamer is. So I feel like as you get older, the console wars don't mean anything. But my identity was linked to.
But why do you
being
think they
a
don't mean
Sonic
anything?
thing.
Well,
What?
let's first answer the question. I think it's definitely too early to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I like what Sony's doing with focusing on indie developers and,
And
sort
bringing
of
back Grim
embracing it.
Fandango.
Bringing back what?
Dude, Grim Fandango is coming to the
Really?
to the PS4
When?
and to the Vita.
When?
That's what they announced. Sony announced that Grim Fandango. It's the least they could do for not having Last Guardian. It's the least they could do. But yeah, I mean, they're just different.
So yeah, but so why though?
They're
I mean,
just- I think they're all
why did
different.
we associate so much of our identity with Sega and Nintendo, and we assume that people nowadays don't, either kids or just
I think
anybody?
people still do. We do the comic show. We do Marvel versus DC, and people
Yeah.
are like, "No, Marvel, DC," and it's
They
like,
get crazy. They get insane.
But so
about
okay,
it.
so even in the even Marvel DC, when you say that like a battle, I imagine Superman trying to punch out like Spider-Man. Like I have a visual.
Superman
Same thing
wins.
with console wars with Sega and Nintendo. I imagine Mario and Sonic. So what do you see, or what do you think people see with Microsoft
Master
or Sony?
Chief versus Kratos.
But that's
You know what I
actually
mean?
like
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
lame compared to Sonic versus Mario.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, part of what the things that Sega did to bridge that gap was they actually like pitted themselves against Nintendo. They painted that image on our heads of
Right.
like, we are racing against Mario, we are punching Mario, and I would like to see something like that for this next generation. I'd like it to feel.
Right.
I mean, the net result of like the feud between Sega and Nintendo, I think, was that they both sold more systems. So
Yeah,
it's-
and they
there-
did
it's
get
not
mad
much-
at each other. Like in the book, there are heated exchanges between these executives.
Well, it makes sense. It's like
where-
their lives.
Because some of them wrote ads like, you know, like Sega, like Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and they
Yeah.
they literally
Someone
like,
posted that
yeah, they
earlier in the
literally
chat.
like,
Yeah,
they
they
talk
remember.
trash to each other. Then they ended up going to like CES together, or whatever.
And that was the cool thing,
and
is
they would get
because
into elevators.
that was
with
like
each
the
other, and
only
would
time
curse
they
each other
ever
out.
saw each other.
So like they would get into these elevators and hotels with each other and curse themselves out. One of the best scenes is when the PlayStation comes out, when Sony comes out, and Sega was supposed to be the upstart with the attitude.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Sony comes out and takes a page out of Sega's book
And
fuck-
their employees.
literally vandalizes
Yeah.
Sega's
At the CES show in Vegas.
CES presentation.
Wow.
Like
They popped
van-
their Sonic
They
balloons.
popped the Sonic balloons. They filled up like their
the
pool.
napkins.
It was
like,
awful.
It was awesome.
But it was
But yeah,
awesome.
no.
But like Sony went at it,
Yeah.
which is crazy because in the book, the other thing I didn't realize until I read your book is we almost had a Sony PlayStation or a Sega PlayStation.
I know.
We almost had the
We
Sega
should have.
PlayStation. Sega PlayStation. Like that blew my mind.
And why didn't we?
Cultural differences.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Like everything.
Silly.
There were
Um,
cultural differences inherent between Sega of America and Sega of Japan.
Well, and it's
I
not
heard-
just the
I've heard
cultural
so.
differences, which are
Or
things.
corporate differences.
No,
Corporate
yeah, but it
culture,
was
yeah.
like, I mean, it was cultural conflict. But like, this wasn't about like saying yes here means something else over there, which was, you know, a small degree of the miscommunication. But it was, we remember Sega and Nintendo. We have that image of Mario and Sonic fighting.
Right.
But people in Japan don't, because Nintendo always had over 80% of the market
Right.
there. The Mega Drive was so unsuccessful that there was no console war. So Sega of Japan like wanted to, they were jealous of the success in America, and they wanted to move on to the next generation because at least they had a chance to start from scratch.
Right.
And yeah, that's why we don't. That's a big part of the reason why we don't have the Sega PlayStation and a lot of other Sega things, and why we're not playing on Sega consoles today.
You get sad when you think about like the Dreamcast.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Dreamcast too, because that was actually a really good console.
I know that was, a
but
good
that was just
cast-
another
and
cultural
it sold,
conflict.
and it sold super well out
Yeah.
of the gate. It was like one of the best-selling consoles in its first
yeah,
week,
it was awesome.
and then it was like tumbleweeds.
I mean, the whole thing can sadden me at times. I've spent a lot of time on this, so I'm not gonna cry here. Like, you know, I've already shed my tears, but always thinking about what could have been for things that mean a great deal to you is gonna be saddening.
So Forever Playa has a question.
Sure.
Since Nintendo and Sega are besties now, do you think that it was a show all along to build up marketing? Do you think that whole early '90s war between Sega and Nintendo was just fake?
Unless Nintendo and Sega executives 20 years later are wonderful actors, then absolutely not. They like really to this day even do not have kind words for one another. I mean, part of Sega's challenge was the act, just in the marketing sense, of going after Nintendo, but they also deep down didn't like these guys. And ultimately, Nintendo and Sega have such fundamental philosophical differences that both thought they were the heroes in the story and both despised the other and thought that they were right.
I'm gonna play Knights.
I like Knights.
How do I play Knights, Jen?
This is.
Okay, got it.
In.
I'm gonna play Knights to Dream.
Nice.
Or I can play something 2-player with Blake. Like
Yeah. Like
Batman
the Batman
Forever.
arcade game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which one do you want to play?
What do we got?
We can play. Literally, this system has almost.
What about? I
any
saw
game
Blades
mode.
of Steel earlier.
Yeah, we can play Blades of Steel.
Heck yeah.
Let's see. It's there's Black Hawk.
Whoa, you okay?
That's
No
Black
worries,
Dawn.
Can't storm, no.
Blades of Steel is a different system, right?
That's NES.
So let's go back.
So Manjoom says, I think at this point Sega just wants to stay alive and sell software, and their stuff ends up working well on.
What am I doing?
New
I mean,
hardware.
their stuff.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Sega is a software company.
sorry.
only
This
now.
is your
Oh.
confirmation. But
No, I want to go back.
I mean, that is definitely their
Escape
strategy,
gets you back.
and it's nice that they have the relationship with Nintendo. And I think that's tone-wise, it's different than Sony and Microsoft, so it works out well.
Dude, look at all the systems they have.
How is it? I feel like someone just broke into my brain, and then this is like
Dude.
projecting.
Okay, so
you
here's
missed the nostalgia storm that you touched off right when you started your conversation.
So what were
talking
people
about.
remembering?
Well, y'all at home, make sure you type it into the
remember
chat so Blake can
remember
actually
Bard's
see it.
Tale?
A barge tale, yeah.
Yeah, remember this?
Somebody
Remember when he had to
mentioned
map
that.
those maps? Remember when he had to like map
Yeah.
that stuff
There's
and
so
like
much
draw 'em?
work back in the day.
Remember you would get those
Yeah.
like. Okay.
Someone
is
had
it-
mentioned winning a Nintendo game from the Lifesaver, some kind of Lifesaver contest.
I still think
You
this
won
is
from the
the.
Honey Nut Cheerios contest.
I still think that this is the best Batman game ever
I
made.
love that Batman game.
Battle chess.
I didn't even know Battle Chess was on
Dude, we gotta go for the warps. You know what? There was supposed to be an
Double
E3 Battletoads. Like somebody was supposed to be bringing back Battletoads.
Yeah.
It was rumored that Rare was gonna bring back Battletoads and announce it,
there.
and
I
they
heard
didn't
That. Why not?
because they're a-holes. You said Blades of Steel, right? Dude, Bill and
Dude.
Ted's. That game probably is awful.
It's probably the worst.
There we go. Blades of Steel.
You know, I played just about every.
Wait, what
Oh,
just
no,
happened?
what?
Do we not have Blades of Steel? What? Whoa! The
Wait.
whole
Oh
computer's
my
messing
god,
up.
system error.
¿Qué está pasando?
Oh,
Jen, ayúdame.
I don't. Here.
Can I do this?
No, I got it. Keyboard.
Oh, dude, Blades of Steel.
I had my appendix taken out, and
When?
they brought the.
Can one of
When I was in
y'all
6th grade, and they brought the
We're trying to get rid of
Nintendo
that.
into my hospital room.
Oh, a little complicated.
Oh, so
And now
Blades of
you're
Steel
in.
can now work?
Yeah,
You're
Battletoads.
in.
SD0. Completely agree.
Oh, here we
Waiting
go.
for it.
Whoa, whoa.
Bated breath.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Where's the start button?
Castle of Illusion. Awesome.
Castle Illusion was one of my best games.
Yeah.
No, but guys, you guys are overlooking my favorite Genesis game of all time. Quackshot. Quackshot was the
Yeah.
shit.
I wish I had that one. To play.
You can
Ooh.
play it tonight. How do we get out of this? Jen, what are we doing?
What?
It-
Oh, this should work. Does
Nothing-
it not work?
Nothing's working.
Oh well, it was like one player
Oh,
mode.
sorry.
Yeah, I want to get this away.
Yeah, Toe Jam
Can you
and
help him
Earl.
with the?
That was like
Okay, here we
3
go.
months
Here
of
we
my
go.
life.
Here we go. And then how do we get to the 2-player? There we go. Okay. Who should I be? I'm gonna be, since we're in Los Angeles, gonna go with Los Angeles. Even though I don't like any Los Angeles
Well,
teams.
now I feel like people are gonna think we're playing the Stanley Cup.
We are
I gotta
playing the
represent-
Stanley Cup.
Oh,
Wait, you hit
I
back.
undid something.
Wait, okay.
Which button did you hit?
I hit the center. That one. Okay.
Is this not the second controller?
Yeah, it is. Okay, now try a different button. That's it.
Awesome.
Okay, now what do we do?
Watch the Zamboni go.
What? ¿Qué está pasando? Just gonna keep speaking Spanish. Okay, so we selected our game. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Here we go. I'm guessing you're on the right, I'm on the left.
So how did you get Night Trap? Did it come with your Sega CD?
Yeah, the pervs who I got my Sega CD from had it. What's funny
I feel
is
like Night Trap had to be purchased out of the trunk of someone's car.
the publisher that I just and that's a big chapter in your book too, is the Night Trap chapter about
Definitely.
censorship in video games with Mortal Kombat and all the blood and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it's a big issue at the time. And now.
Okay. Oh, I shot. Did you see that?
Yep.
I just immediately shot. Do you know
No,
the
I have not played this since that time in 6th grade.
Get off of me, fool. Get off me. Oh, oh. Oh, I just shot again. Oh, come on. Oh, come on now. I'm just going to keep the flurry coming. I'm just going to keep the flurry coming. Oh, it's a breakaway. It's a breakaway.
Riff Raff had both Castle and Quack.
Dude, Quackshot was an amazing game. It's going to keep it coming. Oh, that was your chance right there.
I know.
That was your chance to do the dance.
Yep.
Oh. I'm going for it. I'm bringing the heat.
So, how long was the... Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, something's happening.
Oh, I'm punching you out.
This is like
Wait,
real...
my guy's like just dancing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's
This
happening.
is like real
Oh, there we
life.
go. There we go. You clocked me hard.
Now, how long did you research the book? Were you researching as you were writing it, or was there
Yeah,
an actual
so
research
I
phase?
spent 3 years researching and writing the book. The first 2 years
Oh,
was
did you just pass-
strictly just research.
What? You're
I did-
cheating hard.
I'm
Dude,
trying
this
to
is a
shoot.
cheat mode, homie. It's a different button.
I ended up interviewing over 200 people.
Wow.
Most of them several times, and spoke with them by email and in person. And I see. Yeah, and I think at the time I'm just an impatient person by nature, and I always wanted the book to just come out and be done. But that worked out so well that it took so long because there was such a epic amount of history to tell that my book really only scratches the surface on.
Get away from me.
So Jen, what
Oh!
shit?
Whoa.
What did you have?
Whew!
I had a
hear it.
Nintendo, which I had to
the
earn.
Look at my dance. My boys
I
are
had-
dancing.
I had to earn from this. So I had the NES, which I had to earn from my parents by entering a Chinese speech contest, which is the most.
Are you kidding
So
me?
you learned Chinese just for this?
Just-
I as a 6-year-old kid,
This will bring you
memorized-
success at Twin Galaxies.
Memorized this. No, honestly.
One day, you will bring honor to our family at the Twin Galaxies Live.
Memorized this Chinese monologue to earn my my NES. Right?
Oh, you fucking just pulled that shit.
I had
Damn,
to.
Blake, 1-1. You're bringing the
So
heat.
did you? What do you remember about actually getting it?
Well, first of all, I bombed the speech.
She got it anyway.
I wept like a baby because I had practiced so hard that my mom bought me the thing out of sympathy, which was
game's
awesome.
forever.
Totally worth it. And then the
You got a pity NES?
yeah, hell yeah, it's the best kind. And then
All I got was Burger King.
and then I earned my Super NES by
Oh, come on now.
by being made to enter singing contests. My mom made me enter a full year's worth of singing contests, one every month, for me. She was a show mom.
You got the buttons,
So,
right?
Yeah.
I kind of have the
Okay.
buttons.
I
So,
kinda-
so this is pass, and then
Yeah.
this is shoot.
Okay. Luckily, NES made it so easy.
Yeah, there's only
It's
two.
like 2 options.
Remember how awesome you thought the graphics were in like Double Dribble when the dude would dunk the
Yeah.
basketball? I was like,
NCAA basketball
That's
was
like
a huge
lifelike.
one for me. And
that's some lifelike shit.
So you had a mom who's so proud of you now to be.
No, she didn't give a shit about
untold.
video games. She wanted me to sing, and I wanted to play video games, so she made me
Oh,
sing
oh, oh,
to earn my video games.
Oh, punch your ass out. I got this shit coming. You got this shit coming to you. Again, you knocked my ass out. Yeah. I'm kicking your butt.
She's just better at hockey.
Wait, dude, you
which
gotta
that
wake up.
Clearly was.
You gotta wake up.
I'm just that cocky.
Would you be able to name your hands down favorite game off of every system you ever
Yes, he can.
owned? Yeah?
He absolutely
Give it
can.
to us. Give it to us. What do we have?
So Contra was my favorite game on the NES. Blaze of Steel certainly was not, and that's going to be my excuse for why I'm losing.
Blades of Steel is not a great game. Wait, dude, my wife is calling and you still didn't get anything on me. Oh, I
And
had a
almost gave up the
breakaway.
goal. Contra was my favorite. It was also the first game I ever beat, which was one of the few games I
Cheat
would
to
ever
do
beat.
it though.
Um,
Oh,
Yeah,
this
I
ain't gonna end like, oh, End of
then
quarter. You got
we got a
saved.
Sega Genesis, and my favorite game was NHL '94. I always loved the sports games, so
Nice.
probably boringly, a lot of my favorite games are going to be the
No,
sports
that's
games.
all good.
And then after that, I had
Why are they? They're a bunch of puffs.
PS1. I remember I wanted to get a Sega Saturn, and we went to Toys R Us, my father and I, and the guy was like, dude, don't get a Sega Saturn. And I was like, why? I love the Genesis. The Saturn thing is just like the next one. And he's like, just trust me. And for some reason, I trusted this like stranger at Toys R Us.
Hey.
And I got a PlayStation 1, and I loved Crash.
Oh
My God.
that was
and
that
I
was
also,
your shot.
NFL Game Day was great.
How did you just get it back? Oh,
Does
get in there,
anyone remember?
nerd.
SD0 asks, does anyone rember that Giants movie?
Yeah, Superboy.
The Wizard.
Oh,
course.
the movie The Wizard. It was a big
SDZ
commercial.
SD0, I went to the Nintendo Championships as a kid. You knew that. That was when Blake and I knew we were
Destined.
Oh, get the hell out of that game. That's when
Let's
you
do a
were
replay.
destined.
Yeah, there's a whole chapter, the one about the
Look how mad I am.
development hell for Mario Brothers. You know, a lot of that was the baggage of the Wizard experience and
Yeah.
them wanting to take more control. And so Bill White was the Nintendo executive, the head of advertising, that supervised the Wizard and also was sort of the fall guy and supervised the Mario Brothers movie. And then when I asked him, you know,
Come on, get
all
it.
these years at Nintendo, resurrecting the video game industry, oh my God.
I like just rolled in there.
The Power Glove is so bad. I've tested it and it's true.
Did you own one? You tested it, but did you own a Power Glove?
No, but Seth did, and that was like how when I met him, I was like, this guy's awesome. Not just because he's a hilarious
Seth
movie
Rogen?
star. Yeah. You do a good Seth. Yeah, so Bill White, I asked him what was the toughest challenge at Nintendo. Or like what is one of the toughest challenges you can think of? And I
Dude, you gotta get
expected
the
some
pass
sort of
button.
like,
You just
know,
have to-
marketing thing or like dealing with the transition from 8 bits to 16 bits and Sega. And he said like going to Dustin Hoffman's home and telling him that he could not be
you
Mario.
scored.
I know, that was actually a good
Telling
move.
Dustin
He
Hoffman.
literally went to
couldn't
Dustin
be-
Hoffman.
He literally was like-
can't play Mario.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman could have played Mario.
Yeah,
Holy shit. That would have been amazing.
I know.
Guys, this is actually
And-
a pretty heated game.
I know.
I don't know how much more we're gonna play of it, but
Ooh,
if you say Quackshot, I'm gonna murder you.
Quackshot was so bad. No, I don't want to fight.
Dude, you're good at fighting.
I know.
Did you ever
That
play
doesn't make it right
Yonoid?
to bully. The worst game I ever
Go
played.
for it. Look, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just
That's a
like
good
button
question.
mashing.
Oh,
I'm playing those fight levels like I play any fight game. Dude, you're about to do some come from behind crap. Nope, never mind. You're not.
what are some of like the worst games?
Crawl in there.
I feel like it has to be a kind of popular
There's
one, not just.
E.T.
E.T. I played for the documentary so that we could film it, and I have to say that my book describes it as terrible, and that does not even begin to like do it justice. That was such a piece of crap. What was the worst game? Friday the 13th actually was. We rented
Pretty
that and didn't buy it, but that was like probably the worst game
Get in there.
I
Oh, come on,
I
nerd.
ever played.
Nash Villain says Indiana Jones.
Well, which Indiana Jones? I remember playing on the Commodore 64. You're just gonna win this fight again.
I'm just really good at fighting.
SD0 says Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I
See,
have
I don't know
heard
how to
is
do
terrible
this.
as
What are
well.
you hitting?
I'm hitting the second one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you were hitting the wrong
I
one.
don't know what I'm hitting. I was hitting buttons. Dude, you better tie it up. You're about to do some come from behind hero crap right here. Not in my house. Not in my house. Get that, nerd. Nerd!
Now, if you were to do, are there any plans for you to do another video game based book? Or did you completely like exhaust
Not
yourself
again.
on?
I thought that I
Just
completely
satisfy you.
exhausted it when I turned it in,
Uh-huh.
but I do miss it like every day.
Thank you, finally.
Well, take the puck. You know, I keep forgetting the buttons,
Yeah, so do I.
or do they keep changing?
I don't know.
Oh, I think I know what it
Whoa.
is.
Right.
You're
You still have to like shoot forward.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey,
Jennifer's gonna go take care of something, so I'm gonna jump in. And I'm gonna tell you that my first console was a Sega Genesis.
how did you
Really?
get that Sega Genesis?
Well, I had to save up
Are you ready?
For it.
Whoa, what is this?
by
Dude, there's a
chores
space game in the middle
chores
of it.
and such. And
Oh,
then
shit.
I bought it myself.
Really?
Got my
I
ass
did.
blown.
Do you what store did you buy it from? Do you remember that seminal moment?
I want to say it was. I want to say it was Toys R Us.
There are ads inside of this.
What? What? Oh, that. I think it'll pop back on. It's been happening
Zero
lately.
said, "Do you remember the Simpsons video games on consoles? How disappointing they were compared to the arcade version?" Absolutely.
That was that in terms of disappointment, that has to be the most disappointing game.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't the worst, but
Remember
goddamn, like
or the first
all I
Ninja
ever wanted
Turtles
to
game,
play.
we had to throw the rope across the rooftop.
That
and
might be
figure
one of
out
the
how to do it. Or how impossible it was to.
Oh gosh.
Holy shit! I didn't mean to do that, man.
Well, what?
We could still be
Be
friends,
good?
right? Be good. That was like
It's not
that
over,
Was
it's
you
not
watching.
over.
Okay, we're back.
We're just at the beginning of the third period here.
So this is. I appreciate Kings and Rangers. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about to go down the way.
Do you
it's
know what
actually
the
gonna
score
go
is
down.
of the game?
No.
Or do you wanna
what is-
know?
I would
What?
like to know.
Yeah.
It's 2-1.
Who?
Rangers are up.
Okay.
Oh, so they're not gonna
They've
get
been
swept.
they've been holding on.
They were up 1-0.
They have been
so.
holding on to that 1-goal lead. But yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure it was Toys R Us.
had that thing where you take the slip and then you like give it to them and then go to the back.
Yes. And I only ever had one game. I only ever owned one game. I rented all the others from the video store.
What game did you have?
Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the rentals thing was another part of the book
Yeah.
that Nintendo, in their controlling nature and belief that they should be the ones
Right.
getting all the margins to ensure quality control, they sued Blockbuster and the mom and pop video chains for renting out games.
Really?
And they ended up
shit.
not being allowed. They didn't really win that case, but they were able to win or had some grounds with the copyright stuff of when Blockbuster and these places would give you the instruction booklets for the games.
Oh, damn.
Because that was Nintendo copyrighted material.
Interesting.
And so I do kind of remember as a kid renting games and not having the instructions, being like, what
Yeah.
do I do? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Or sometimes they were
Yeah. Yeah, or eventually,
Oh, come on
or
now.
some, the ones I went to, they had instructions, but you had to sign
Come on now.
something that you got
my
the
God.
instructions, so you had to bring it back. And if
Wow.
you didn't bring it back, they would charge you for it. Not
The fucking student has become the master.
very disconcerting. And so,
Oh, shit.
as a Sega kid, did you feel like strong allegiance to them? Or
I
was-
didn't, but I did feel a little bit special because all my friends had
you stole it.
NES.
It's a bad pass.
And so I'd go over to their homes
Oh,
and
nice.
play,
Go get it, nerd.
and they were so good at it
Go get it, nerd.
that I felt special when I had this game system
Some
that
nerd
looked
better go
so
get it.
great. I mean, you described it really well in your book the first time.
Oh shit.
The first time the guy walked into the room and sees
Yeah.
the Genesis for the first time.
Like these
Damn,
adults
you just keep
Yeah.
stealing it.
who didn't always even love the games, but there was just something so
Oh,
special.
you're stealing
Yeah.
it. Like you stole it like 4 times in a row.
I found it fascinating too that in there
Oh,
they
you
were
stole
already
it.
developing the CD. So the Dreamcast was already in the works and the Game Gear was going.
You're
Well,
not-
the funny thing with the consoles is that the console war is happening, but
shit.
they have to be so many years ahead.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as the Super Nintendo comes out, they're working on the N64 and
Oh,
they're working on this stuff,
absolutely.
which is not surprising. But to think of it that way, as kids, we think that they just come out of the sky.
Yeah, it's true.
You fucking just pulled that.
Wow.
We have 2 minutes left.
You got 2 minutes left, and it is 5-4. Shit's getting crazy. Yeah, celebrate all you want.
Now, who is what color? Because they look like the
I'm
wrong
also-
colors.
yeah.
Are you blue and yellow?
I'm yellow, like I'm sick,
I'm blue, like the New York Rangers.
like he's angry.
But yeah, that's
So
the
you're-
Kings for whatever reason.
Yeah, so blue and yellow. I don't remember
We're
when
more
the
like
Kings were ever
Oilers, I
that.
think.
Oh, you're the Kings.
I know. I am the Kings. Oh shit, you're good at stealing that shit.
SD0 was saying, and maybe you saw it already, that instructions were printed on the back of the case
Get
eventually.
away from me.
Do you remember
I mean,
that?
there's a lot of workarounds.
Yeah.
I personally don't remember that.
Get in there!
But that would make sense.
Photocopied. I got some photocopied sets of.
Photocopies.
Yeah.
Definitely was what I got every time. But that was probably because they either lost it.
Yes.
I think because the photocopying is what was illegal because they were copying the copyright.
I see.
Well done, sir.
I know.
Congratulations.
Great button mashing, Jonathan. Great button mashing.
But
I now want to-
Sega Tom Kalinske was named the VSDA, the Video Software Dealer Association's Man of the Year in 1994, and that sort of personified Sega becoming friends with these rental places. And so much of Sega's strategy in the book is, them just forming a cartel of Nintendo's enemies. And Nintendo had a lot of enemies, and it grew with each year and with each success.
I'm sorry.
You just keep breaking
I
this.
just hit okay.
There might be something buggy with Saturn.
Oh no, never mind.
Yep.
Why can't we play no Saturn games?
No.
Should I not play Saturn games?
Don't play Saturn games.
It just didn't look that good. Okay.
No, yeah.
Okay, I'll play his Dreamcast game.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
I'll
see
play
if you
101
will.
Dalmatians. How are there this many? How many are there this many?
Well, what happened, we had to do a complete reinstall, so we lost a bunch of them, and right now they are testing 85 emulators that we're going to get. So that goes all the way up through PS2.
Is there anything you want to see? Let's try Genesis and let's go to
go
Quack. I want to try Quackshot. I want to see Quack. Or Kid Chameleon.
Do you remember?
Remember Kid Chameleon?
Love Kid Chameleon.
Kid Chameleon's a really damn good game. There's 3 ninjas.
I was actually surprised Kid Chameleon was not more successful. I mean, it was definitely a good game and it did well. But that was, to me, I felt like the second time was with the way I felt with Sonic, where I was just like, oh, I want that. I need that. I felt that way when I saw the Kid Chameleon covers of the Sega Visions.
Did you ever play Flashback? You remember Flashback?
No.
It was awesome. It was like out of this world.
It was.
Remember
Out of Its World was kind of the prequel, sort of, right?
Yeah.
I just remember I thought the graphics were the
Chameleon, I wanted to
greatest,
be that kid on
the greatest thing I'd ever seen, because he actually reached down, drew out his gun, and he held it like you would hold a gun, and
like
his
Prince of
barrel
Persia.
rolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where they it was like Prince of Persia, where they had an actor do it and then they scanned
It was so good.
the animation.
They
Dude,
recently did the an HD revised version of it. That's pretty sweet.
now there are a ton of games that are doing that kind of animation that you see at E3. There are a ton of games that were using influences. The guys who did Limbo have a new game called I think Enter or Further, something like that, and it was pretty damn awesome. Okay.
What is it like?
It was it looks like that fluid Prince of Persia movement.
Really?
It's awesome.
This is by the creators of Limbo.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
a nice game.
I mean, it's kind of, because there's such a appreciation and sort of
what's the
resurgence of the
start
retro
button?
games.
What's the
That's
start
really
button?
opened up the creative possibilities,
Right.
not just what we're technologically capable
Yeah.
of,
Is there
but
a start button?
it's not all about just best graphics, about cool graphics, and oh, that's so cool.
You have to guess the start button. Oh, there we go.
Start.
Start 2. Let's do that. Oh, you're playing Kid
Uh,
Chameleon.
So, you may have already talked about this. Sorry, I was
all good.
off doing
That's
things.
all right.
But I want to know. So, when did the book come out?
Sure. So I'll just give you a very brief history.
Yeah.
So 3.5 years ago is when I started working on the book.
Okay.
Which at the time I didn't realize what I was working on the book. I honestly just wanted to read what
know
my
what I'm
book
doing.
was. And then 2 years ago is when I met with Seth
Wait, jump
Rogen
on
and
his
Evan
head?
Goldberg, and we talked about doing the documentary and the feature film. And then the book came out
What do I do? Do I jump on
4
his
weeks
head?
ago on May 13th.
So 4 weeks ago. So it's been out for 4 weeks
It
now.
has, yeah.
And how is the reception? How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling so fantastic. This is my dream come true. I love writing, and I traded commodities for 7 years while I was supporting myself writing.
Yeah.
So, I still don't believe it. It feels surreal to see it, and the reaction for the most part has been very, very strong. I've also had my first experiences with bad reviews and people who don't
Really?
like me or the book. Yeah.
What don't they like
Now-
about this book? Because I love
now-
it.
They don't like the dialogue.
Now, are
They
you-
They
either
don't like it?
Well, a lot of
Yo.
Now, are
now
you
what do I
saving
do?
those? Are you saving those for future to laugh at them,
now
or
that I'm a knight,
or did
what
you
if-
burn them?
What do I do now?
I wanted to burn them, and that was, insecurity on my part. Because
Now
as
that
I
I'm
said,
nice.
this is really the first thing I've ever written that
Yeah.
was read by people other than my parents.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a knight, what do I
that I
do?
knew writing it was going to actually have some audience.
No one's listening to me. I don't know what to do now that I'm a knight.
I thought you're supposed to be some sort of
Do I
Kid
jump
Chameleon
on his
prodigy.
I haven't played this in a ton of
Um,
years. I'll jump on that fool's head. Boom. Oh, yeah, that's all I needed to do.
The New York Times review
yeah.
was very long, and the first half of it talked about all these really cool things in the book, like the watershed moment you're talking about, and
Yeah.
how cool and cinematic it was. And it says, Console Wars sounds like it'll make one heck of a movie, but it is not one heck of a book.
Oh,
So that was a big curveball to me. I was like,
ouch.
great review, dream come true.
We got recorded by the. We got a review by the New York Times.
Now,
Yeah.
will,
And they
will it
hated
be
it.
will it be a feature
there's
scripted,
two
or
film
will it be a
projects.
Okay, so
There's a
there's
documentary and a feature film.
That's excellent.
I'm co-directing the documentary with Jonah Tulis, my business partner.
Okay, cool.
Who I've been working with all these years, and we've also been struggling along, so it's nice for us to have this. And then Seth and Evan are attached to write and direct the feature, and Scott Rudin's producing it as well as
He's
they.
all heavy. So he
And
just
Scott does,
falls through stuff.
to name a few movies, The Social Network and Moneyball.
Yeah,
Scott Rudin's
yeah,
a
yeah.
major.
And you know he has a great track record with
He's
not
small
only-
time. He's
Yes.
small potatoes.
Meeting him was one of the best parts of the whole process.
That's so cool.
Just he definitely has a legend that I didn't know, as
It's
anyone
you.
would
It's
if he
you.
lives up to.
There's really just
and
a
he
jump button.
exceeded
That's all I
it.
know. No, the middle button is jump
Okay.
button, and that's all. That's the only button I knew worked was the button. That's it.
So you've read some or all of the book?
I've started the
Oh, yeah,
audiobook.
okay.
I'm about 45 minutes into the audiobook.
And what did you expect the book to be, and how, is it aligning with your expectations? The style is narrative nonfiction,
Which I like. I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. I like the voice of the book, and
Good.
that first story that you start out with is so great. Especially going to Spain
Yeah.
and walking in. It's very cinematic, like you're saying. I saw it all walking in, and I felt it very grungy, almost like the factory where Walter White is cooking meth eventually for.
Well, that was
For
probably
Gus.
somewhat intentional because
Yeah.
that's my favorite TV show.
Yeah, and that's what I pictured, just kind of that feel and smell, and then these cars whizzing by, and then him seeing on the phone and seeing the guys coming towards him and
Yeah.
running. It's just very exciting.
And that conversation with Tom was when it went from me wanting to read this book or just being curious about it to wanting to write it, because he had these great human experiences that have nothing to do with video games, but then ended up having everything to do with video games.
Right,
And I
absolutely.
just love that. And
Yeah.
he's a good storyteller, and also just sort of Forrest Gump-like is like appearing in all these places
That's
as
so
these
cool.
cultural things are happening.
Yeah, so I definitely want to finish it because
How are you enjoying the voices? The narrator did like a lot of.
he did
very
do
distinct
voices.
styling.
I'll be honest, I'm not going to pull any punches. At first, I thought when he was doing the kind of
Japanese.
strong English Japanese, it was a little bit Hispanic. Like occasionally, it sounded a little Hispanic.
Well,
Just
Nakayama
slightly.
does have a strange Japanese
Does he?
accent. The
So
good
that,
thing
so
was,
that might be it. That might be it.
well, still, it's based on the book, so he shouldn't necessarily have the knowledge of what
No,
these people were actually
no,
like, but
yeah.
he, so maybe I described it incorrectly as some Hispanic, but he did
no.
have the luxury of watching parts of the documentary to see how these people talk, their cadence.
Oh, he
their
did.
tone.
Oh, good.
For not everyone, but for
There
the
were
main characters.
times where it was really strong, and
Yeah.
just a few times where it was so close. And maybe that's just because it's foreign language, speaking English.
Yeah.
That yeah.
You're not gonna play Kid Chameleon?
Oh, I played and I lost because my joystick didn't work, so I just.
Oh, are you for real?
Oh no, it
Yeah,
didn't. I wonder if it was mapped to here.
The dinosaur just came and I tried moving and jumping.
I'm gonna push your
then he
button.
ate me. So did I ever tell you that I got to meet Nakayama?
Did you really?
Really?
Hold on.
It was pretty incredible.
There we go. Cool.
Oh, you're back. So
Oh, there's a rock man.
Nakayama was the head of Sega Enterprises in
Look.
Japan and the head of SOJ, and he was a very interesting,
tight.
eccentric, dictatorial figure.
You're a samurai now.
And when I was in Japan, shooting some
What?
Wow,
Oh.
that was really cool. Some short documentaries for Sega. I got an email from him saying, I heard you've been looking for me, and I'm interested in meeting. Off the record, of course. Be at your hotel at 3 o'clock, and I'll have some people come by and see if you're worthy of meeting, or to vet you. And I was like, this is so cool. And so like Nakayama like that, he would be like mysterious and like
That's
not just,
well. That's exactly like your story. Where
Yeah.
he just shows up at the pool. And
like he's so
says,
dramatic.
You are
Shows
very
up
hard
at
man
beach.
to find.
Yeah.
He shows up at his beach.
And
on
so
his
he had
vacation.
these two guys come to my hotel.
Oh crap! I'm no
And they
more
vetted
guy.
me for half an hour, and I guess I passed the test. And then we went to Nakayama-san's home, which is, at the time, was the third biggest home in all of Tokyo. And I walked in, and we were going to have tea together. And it was very pleasant. He lived up to everything I had been told in terms of the way he spoke, the psychology behind him, at least that I had been told about.
You want to try this, or
No,
should we
you can
let's put
play.
a quick shot up in this bit?
And we ended up spending a couple hours together, and after the first hour, I would speak in English, and he had a translator who would translate to him, and vice versa. And after the first hour, he essentially fired his translator and apologized to me for them doing such a horrendous, terrible job. And he was so embarrassed. And I thought, no, I mean, I didn't even notice anything. I've been getting everything out of this conversation I wanted. Right. But it was like so much like the incidents in the book and the way that he was described, where he just like wanted to show that he had the power, or that he was so such a perfectionist that
I was
he
hitting escape, but it was hitting start.
Castlevania is great.
Quit trying to break it.
Okay.
Stop.
Oh, shit. Did you ever learn Japanese to write the book?
Yes, but I forgot it all after
Are
I
you
published
serious?
it. No. I'm
Okay.
terrible with languages. The only language I do is sarcasm, and I don't even do it that well.
That's an important one.
What game is this?
The best game ever.
I wanted to play it.
So
called
where
Task
did this come
Manager.
from? How does this exist?
Custom made.
Yeah.
Okay, do I hit tab to go back?
No, escape
hit
to go
escape.
back. Yeah.
Let me try it.
Yeah, hit escape. There you go.
There it works.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Okay.
I'm gonna come
And
sit.
then-
I'm gonna come sit over here, because then if
Are the mascots a big part of the book? Absolutely. I mean, not only did each personify the different styles of Sega and Nintendo, but creating Sonic is a big part of the book, as well as bringing on
what I
Tails and changing him from his initial name to Tails. The mascots are a huge part of the book.
now
Wait, guys, is that the only Q game you have? Is Quad Challenge?
right now,
many Q
yeah,
games
we,
are there?
we have a.
Quack Shot on the system.
That's right.
Well, was it originally on Genesis?
Yes.
Was it on any other system?
I guess I'll have to play
Was it on any other system?
Robotector.
Was it on any other
Robotector
system?
kind of looks tight.
I never saw this game before.
It's Europe. Protector. Probotector. You gonna probe some dudes? Probotector.
They do look like they're all holding probes.
I'm not playing Probotector. Should I
No,
play Probotector?
no, don't do it. Don't play
Psycho
Protector.
Pinball? I was gonna play Punisher.
All right, so I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
playing Punisher.
I understand in the Mario world, in the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario wants to rescue the princess. Like, that's his motivation. That's his goal. Like, what is in it for Luigi?
Brotherhood.
He's
good
like just
question.
really doing it for his brother. He's risking his life. That's so.
I think I'll tell you what. I think he thinks that he could possibly get the girl.
I think so too.
He's got
I think
Daisy.
he
got
has
some-
to. He has no. He has.
That brunette ass.
If you had Daisy, you'd be going after Peach.
The
Come on.
brunette.
He has to think that.
I'd be going after
I think it
Toadette.
slipped a
Yeah,
little.
sorry.
That's
Get
all right.
weird.
Just wanna get-
New York.
I think. I think he has
predators
to.
of all
I think he
kinds.
actually has to.
I love those screenshots of Luigi's angry stare from the Mario Kart game that I was seeing all over last week, because I
Yeah.
always felt like deep
Oh,
down
the
that's
Death
how he
Star?
how he had to feel, either just because that's who he was or who he became from all these years of being player 2. Like, I
Well,
would have
that's
that
why
edge.
I really appreciated Year of Luigi, and all the stuff that
Yo,
came out.
I-
the-
me too.
Hey, we can play Nick Fury.
What game is this?
Punisher.
Oh. One player.
Oh, you really? You don't want to play?
I get too distracted.
Oh, you do?
I'm not multi-talented. Multitasking?
Look at Nick Fury. Wait, why is Nick Fury white? Just kidding.
Oh my god, Jonathan, you can't ask people why they're white.
Wait, so you wanted to be Nick Fury, so you're reaching across?
No, I was gonna. Oh,
To
well,
play.
Nick Fury's gonna eat a pizza,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
or
part of
he's
the
not gonna
Avengers
eat a
movie.
pizza. Oh, there you go.
Big pizza eating scene.
You have to jump up and then you have to reach down. I'm only playing with Blake's controller because
Such a hog.
because I wanted him to play with me, but then he didn't play.
So your theory on
go.
Luigi
Let's go, White Nick
is similar, that he has to think that possibly he'll get the girl someday?
Definitely.
Maybe.
I mean, in an isolated situation, if it happened in just Mario 1, okay, I can get that. Like, I would do a lot for my brother, but to like continually do it, I feel
Right.
like you reach the point of
Well,
just
why
thinking-
can't Nintendo introduce,
Oh, that's like toxic waste.
Princess Nectarine, who is her cousin?
You don't like eating nectarines.
well,
like you do.
that's really what I'd like to see.
Oh, he's clocking these fools.
As I've been thinking a lot while finishing the book about the current state of Nintendo and the challenges they face and where they're headed.
Yes.
I understand that Nintendo still generally makes family-friendly fare.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are those of us in our late 20s and 30s that grew up on this, and we still enjoy a great Mario game, Mario Kart. But I would like to learn a little bit more about what these people would be like in a more realistic or grounded world. I mean, basically, like, more adult themes. And I don't mean Luigi banging chicks, but, like, I don't know. I'd like to see a darker graphic novel with some of the characters, or see a show on FX that's like,
The Mario
you know,
Kingdom.
Like the
Oh, no.
Mario Kart Mercedes commercial. Did you see that?
no.
It's oh man. So it's
Oh, I just threw a knife in your face.
and it was very rewarding. Very.
Do you guys have experiences crying while playing your
Look,
video
Nick Fury's
games?
swimming.
I don't think so. You?
I remember bawling when I was next door at the Kaufman's house, and Mrs. Kaufman came in and she said that we were playing too many minutes, and we said we were doing really well in Zelda, and we were like about to, we were trying to get the raft, and we thought we were going to get it, and then she just shut it off without saving, and I was bawling because how could you lose your progress? Oh, that's awesome, yes.
Yeah, that's the one who.
I mean,
steps
that's
out.
still over the top, but that's
It
really
is.
cool. But just that
Yeah.
idea of, like,
Yeah.
actually looking at them in the real world, and there's, I think, plenty of opportunities.
This fool.
Yeah, this is what he looks like when he steps out of the Mercedes.
That's awesome. It does look kind of like a Goomba.
Yeah.
Come on.
Eternal Champions was awesome. I liked hearing about the development of that.
This is my ass.
And another game that really got caught in the crossfire between America and Japan.
So did you grew up with Nintendo?
So I grew up with a Nintendo,
Oh, I punched
an
that knife
8-bit
out of
NES
there.
that my brother and I played the hell out of. In addition to Contra, my other favorite game was Bubble Bobble, which was
Bubble
one of the
Bobble's
few
great.
co-op
So
games
great,
back
yeah.
then.
So great.
We can play Bubble
And
Bobble.
so we loved the Nintendo so much that, of course, we wanted a Super Nintendo.
Right.
And my parents wouldn't get it for us because my dad said that they would just come out the Super Duper Nintendo and a Super Super Duper Nintendo, which I thought at the time was just him being cruel. But aside from him being kind of correct, though wrong in a lot of ways, it was, he was basically saying he didn't agree with Nintendo's business decision not to have
They'll-
backward compatibility.
No, he said they'll just come out with a Super Nintendo and then a Super Duper
yeah.
Nintendo.
But he just didn't.
I would buy that Super Duper Nintendo.
Like a lot of parents back then, they didn't like buying the games and starting over, and the fact that none of the 8-bit games worked on the 16-bit. And so, looking back, I was thinking, wow, this business decision is actually like the reason that I got this. And a lot of details like that helped put my childhood into focus. It was like therapy.
Have you ever played Gunstar Heroes?
I have not.
Are you out of your mind? You haven't played Gunstar Heroes?
No, I'm
Gunstar
terrible.
Heroes is great. It's a classic Genesis and arcade game.
What is the game about?
All right, you just fly around and shoot stuff. I'm blowing away all these fools. That guy was just standing there. Nick Fury's taking names.
So, so we had a Genesis.
Okay.
And I always had a brother. And we loved the sports games, and I always hated the fact so much that he really was better than me. I felt like I should have older brother powers and automatically be better.
So have you beaten him since, or is he still better than you?
He's still better than me.
Wow.
And it's like,
kinda hurts.
we can't even play anymore because I would get so mad, I would throw the controller. I'd always do this thing where I would say, no, this time I won't get mad.
How do I
Like,
help that guy?
because I felt rational at the time of making this promise.
Yeah,
But then, especially in Griffey. Griffey was one of my favorite games of all time. I love the SNES one, but the 64 one, I thought, this is the game that I just want every year them to sell a new version with updated rosters, and like I'll be happy for the rest of my life. And he was
That's
so much better than me.
It's a good game.
What about-
Growing up, it made me feel good that one of my sports heroes on my team was on a was
So did you grow up in Seattle?
yeah, born and raised.
So was there any sentiment as somebody growing up in Washington that like Nintendo was that
Not
Nintendo being in
really.
Redmond that like you were supposed to support them? I mean,
Not
Nintendo
really.
did own the Mariners too.
That's true.
I
I,
got her.
know. Yeah.
I saved
Not
that girl.
really.
She came
Not
out.
really. There wasn't much. In fact, I didn't. Yeah. It may have been more so because it was still a business, right?
Yeah.
And Redmond is far enough out from Seattle that it's still
Yeah.
not.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily assume there would be, but I was just curious.
And they were very secretive about it. This building
I
was
just
not
lit the ground on
labeled
fire.
big,
Yeah.
Nintendo or anything fancy. So
Look,
we'd drive by
you
it
got
on the
something on
freeway
your
all the
face.
time, and I had no idea that was Nintendo.
Look, you got something on your face, and then it lit him on
Oh,
fire.
that's pretty awesome.
Nick Fury should have done this in Captain America 2.
So do you only get to be Nick Fury, or are you getting to switch
No,
and being
you
Punisher?
could
What is your
Punisher.
favorite story of rage rage quitting with your brother?
When we were on vacation in Newport, Rhode Island, where my family went every year, and that was when I remember saying, like, Dylan, I promise, like, I won't get mad if you beat me. And thinking at the time, like,
You wouldn't
that,
get
like
mad.
I'm making a promise.
yeah,
I
I
can
won't get
totally
mad.
deliver on this. It's just a game.
This
Win or
is a
lose, who
game.
cares?
Yeah, exactly.
But then after the game started cheating for him, which it often did, like, I got really mad. I threw the controller and I walked out of the room and locked myself out. And that was like the first moment when I
Twin Galaxies.
I'm not gonna get upset. Oh my god, you're never gonna beat that guy.
By the order
What
of
about you?
Kingpin, you were to be terminated.
No crying. So did you ever get really
I didn't
angry?
cry, but I think I just.
Are you kidding me? It
I think
jumps
I
and
was
get hurt?
more. I think I instead of rage, I tended more towards being a poor sport,
Yeah.
but masking it of like, let's do something else.
Yeah.
No,
No,
like-
but I'm beating you. Oh, well, if this is important to you, I guess we should
Dude.
continue. I mean,
Guardrail,
I wasn't really
Like-
trying that. I love that I wasn't really trying that
guardrail.
hard.
yeah,
Like-
that's the
Oh, I
worst.
thought we were kind of just like playing for fun. I didn't realize like, okay, we're playing to win. That explains
I beat the guard droid.
That was a lot of points.
By order of the Kingpin, he was going to have me killed. Coming for you, Wilson Fisk.
And so, do you have the new consoles?
So I have PS3,
Okay.
and that was what I played most of throughout the writing of the book. And then I got a Wii U the day I turned in my first draft of the manuscript as my little gift to myself. And so I got Mario Kart 8 last Friday or whenever, right before I left
And
for LA.
so, do you like the Wii U? Do you think it can
Yes.
survive?
I mean,
He's a hater.
the question I'm asked most during interviews is like about the current state. What,
Yeah.
like, what's going to happen to Nintendo?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to go the way of Sega?
Yeah.
Get into the software business? Are they going to fall? Or they say, are they going to fall apart and go the way of Sega? And I always think that's kind of a strange question because one, Sega is profitable.
Yeah.
They're not where they want to be for
Right.
sure, or where they wanted to be. But like Nintendo, every game for the Wii U that I've played is fantastic. So as long as they're making great games,
Right.
it's beautiful. Like this Year of the Luigi, I played the Luigi version of the game.
Okay.
And I was playing it, like, this is great. And then I sat down in bed, and I brought my tablet. And then I noticed, okay, the same thing's going on over here. Okay, then I'm just going to end up watching this. And I already have a 3DS. But now it was like I just had a 3DS with a
yeah.
1.5 the size times screen.
Yeah, Wind Waker is so much better.
and the other
when
thing
you can just have the map
that
on your lap. in the
Maybe you
tablet.
guys know better about it. So all my stories about back in the day playing these games is a Wii. It's me and my brother. I'm the guy who's throwing controllers. It would not have been very successful for us to have one tablet between us. How is that working with kids?
I don't know. We haven't
Our
really
families
heard.
being fractured?
I think so. I think it's destroying the fabric of our families. I've been wanting to.
So do you have a
I
Wii?
don't. I have a Wii, but I do not have
you
the
thinking
Wii
about the
U.
Wii U?
I'm very much thinking about it, and it was very attractive. The Wii U Mario Kart 8
I'm getting that.
bundle, but it is sold out everywhere.
Well, that's great.
And I was trying to get it for this Saturday because we're going to have a Mario Kart 8 tournament. And so I was going to just put it on a credit card and play it until Saturday. And then
It's awesome.
have
It
it.
really is.
Yeah.
It did come with high expectations.
well, when
so
do you go back to New York?
I'm already scheming, but I go back Saturday morning.
Oh, he can't be in our
I
Mario
got to
Kart
get in, play a
tournament.
shy guy.
What? Yeah.
I play a shy guy.
You play a Shy Guy? See?
Shy Guy especially, I
we
think,
could
deserves
use
like
you.
a graphic novel series of his own.
Yes, yes. Well, I've watched people stream it, and it looks
Oh, I want
So
that guy.
cool.
amazing.
And even like the new weapons or the question mark, the gifts, like they're awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of worry that they wouldn't fit in seamlessly, or that
Oh.
the Piranha Plant is so cool.
Well, I remember we had it here for a day. Somebody brought theirs in, and I just played a couple of the mini games on Nintendo Land.
Really? With the pipe?
And I loved it. I mean, the Donkey Kong one was
haven't played it.
Land's awesome.
so good. See, DMC
Shy Guy does
Shy
rule.
Guy rules.
And wouldn't you read a graphic novel series starring Shy Guy?
I think so. I think that needs to happen.
One of the more disturbing things in life, though, I saw was like, I guess Shy Guy in some iterations, or originally was like a human but with like a mask walking around. So to see like that he wasn't this cute, cuddly, like, kind of aggressive badass, I was like, oh my god. It's like when you're at Disney World and you see Mickey Mouse take off his head and you're like, no.
No.
You want a mouse?
Yeah, we should get that written.
Yes, that would be good.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Moonwalker.
I was
Yeah,
walking around
absolutely.
E3 today with Al Nilsson, who was sort of the Michael Jackson whisperer. He was, Michael, interesting guy,
Not
to
these
say
guys.
the least.
I hate these guys.
Had a
Did you ever get into Atlantis in that game?
no,
Because like the game goes to Atlantis.
yeah.
Like, did you ever go to Atlantis?
No, I never.
I just threw that knife at that dude's
Yeah,
head.
it was
did
not-
you see that?
I seem
Yeah.
to recall it wasn't an easy game.
it was so hard.
It was a very hard game.
Well, it just wasn't intuitive. The storyline wasn't intuitive, so it was a lot about exploration.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out where the heck you should go, and then getting a password so you can continue. I just hate barrels.
So there it is. Mystic Defender is a two-dimensional action video game
No, I wanted
released
that.
for Sega Genesis, originally titled
Oh my God.
Kujakuo
This is pretty
2
awesome. Bonebreaker. He's one of the
Genejo
Oh, that's awesome.
in Japan, and based on the anime manga
dude.
Kujaku.
They're fighting
Oh.
mutants and everything. They're getting.
Is it good, Mystic Defender? Did you say you didn't have the courage to beat it?
Oh, yeah, he
Riff
said
Raff?
he didn't
Or was
have the
that-
courage to beat it. Does that mean the intestinal fortitude?
How do I
or
continue? How do I continue?
Time.
Are there graphic images
Uh, I would imagine it's probably that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm Frank Castle.
Oh, now you have to go back. There you go. Now you're.
Dude, Bonebreaker was like, if you guys watched, Bonebreaker is like a marauder. They're rolling
So what did
deep.
you get after the after the Genesis?
My next console wasn't until the Xbox.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you stop playing video games, or you were just leeching off?
I
of
kind of
others?
did. I was a competitive swimmer, and that literally took
Oh.
up all of my
Could've
time.
been a
But
competitive gamer.
I know it. What should have happened is I should have had a system that I took with me on swim meets and just plugged it in instead of watching TV.
Or
I was-
girls.
or girl. Well, there was that too. But yeah, it wasn't until college actually, and people were playing Xbox. I was like, this is.
Well, they play Halo a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome. It became the social side of it.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, it was more about playing with friends.
Yeah.
But I'm 8
doing
years
that.
older than my sister. She didn't play video games, and so it was just kind of a solo thing.
No, stop doing that.
Yes, if you are just joining us, please, we've got Blake Harris here. He's amazing, very
Thank
knowledgeable. I am 45 minutes into the audiobook. I should also just read it too. Use my brain.
Dude, I
no,
ripped
no.
this torso off.
But it's fantastic. Please go there. Is that the best place to buy at Amazon? Or would
Any
you
place
prefer
is fine.
some?
No,
anywhere
Amazon's
else?
great.
What will get you the most money?
Yeah. What will put the most money into your pocket?
Bonus
I
stage.
honestly don't know. I don't want to know. I want wherever's easiest for you to buy is
Yeah.
where I want you to buy it.
Go
Whether
get it.
it's Kindle, print book, stealing it from the library. I just want people to read the story.
Yeah.
I think the book is the best book ever, and I think that I have such a small part to do with that. Like, I think the writing is cool, but like, the story is
But
so
you got
good.
all the stories from.
Yeah,
They were told
the
to
research
you.
was really
Yeah.
The connecting the dots was the hardest part and the most rewarding part, and the part that still shocks me that nobody has written this book. This should have been like the 8th book on Sega Nintendo.
I'm actually really surprised.
Yeah.
Frankly, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, has this been done before?" No, it hasn't.
That was my reaction a
Yeah.
lot of steps of the way, and that was kind of how we sold it to Scott Rudin because he's like, "Great idea. Wait, that hasn't been done before. What? Why?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see it as.
On the big screen.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So who did you imagine when you were listening to it as Tom Kalinske?
That's tough. As
You know they're gonna
Kalinske,
put their boy Franco in there.
He's too young, right?
What?
he is too young.
He's too young, isn't he?
It's
Yeah,
gotta-
but
it's
the
gotta
whole
be
problem is
somebody-
Jonah Hill is playing like with all his makeup on. You know that they want a
See-
piece of that.
See, somebody like I just saw Edge of Tomorrow, right?
Okay.
And
was
Bill
cool, right?
Bill Paxton's. It was super cool. I really liked it. When Bill Paxton comes on screen, he's amazing. I wish he was just a little bit younger,
Yeah.
and then he'd be a solid
Yeah.
Kalinske. But I don't know. If you could have the perfect cast right now, who would it be?
I mean, the first half of writing it, I probably imagined Aaron Eckhart. Just because I think that he looks like him and he has that demeanor and
Aaron
has that
Eckhart's
little bit of
awesome.
wild spirit, but
Yeah.
like he could rein it in.
That's good. That's a good call.
Good.
So that was probably. I know Tom would love to have Brad Pitt play him, and I
Obviously.
think also probably for the second half more after seeing Moneyball, I imagined a little bit.
Absolutely.
Brad
Yeah,
Pitt.
yeah.
I
of
also imagined a
course.
lot of my father, but he's not an actor. But
Well,
Put him in there.
put him in there. Cameo.
he was in my Rock Paper Scissors movie.
He was.
He played Bruce Wong's girlfriend's father. I had to break the hard news that he's
Well,
been
while
dubbed.
you think about the rest of the cast, good question from SD Zero. Have you ever wondered why almost every video game has barrels and/or crates?
No, but now I know I'm going to spend the rest of the night thinking about it.
How do you
know.
think they got all these bad guys in there?
Yeah, why is that?
Because they do a lot of business.
Well,
I guess like
they just need things to throw.
I love how they're
they
bringing
need things that are
weapons
throwable.
through
They need an obstacle where jumping
They're bringing weapons through
helps
the
you avoid
Punisher.
damage.
That's true.
And I guess there's not that much that's big enough that you would need to escape it by
Yeah.
Come here,
hurdling,
fool.
right? But that's good, really good point.
I really think Brad Pitt or Aaron Eckhart are two really good
I
choices.
really felt very good about Aaron Eckhart until
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for I, Frankenstein, and then I heard him talking about what a great role this was, and I was like,
He's got to sell his movie. Come on.
Well,
no, I know he does,
You
but
have
like when
to.
he was like,
He can't
this is like
say-
the
You
ultimate
pay his
like
mortgage,
duality
man.
of character, and I was like, come on, man, Tom Kalinske would never say that. He'd be like, it's a cool movie. Drew Carey.
Wait,
could,
you could have just gone in there the entire time?
You missed the spot.
Punisher, you're a fool. Well, now what are we?
And then I
Oh.
totally imagined Jeffrey Tambor as Peter Maine. I think that he looks like him. He talks like him. He has that like slurish southerny accent that's not really an accent or not really a slur.
Jeffrey Tambor is
But
such
he's a little too
good.
old,
He's
but-
such a good actor, and he can play serious, but you just don't think of him all the time that way. Because
I know.
Just because Arrested Development has
Yeah.
definitely solidified him in a very specific.
And I can't believe he was that part of Arrested Development. He was so good because I always thought of him as Hank Kingsley. And
Right.
he was just like this huge dope
Yeah.
that never got the joke.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
to
Yeah.
be like the snarky,
Yeah.
dickish one on Arrested
which is
Development.
now what he's transitioned into.
Yeah.
He's like always
in
this-
Hangover. That's what
Yeah.
he played, and
Yeah. Sam Rockwell, what do you think about that?
I think it's a great choice.
I like Sam Rockwell.
It's pretty solid.
I think really
Where
good
they gotta
call.
put their boy Franco.
Tambor's pretty old now. He's
Yeah, I
getting
don't
old.
think he could at this point.
Oh, what's on this train? Are people doing their laundry and cooking like heroin? Like, but they're doing their laundry. Like, there's these heroin vats, and there was a bunch of crap about like.
So one of the other things that
What is going
people
on?
have asked me about a lot,
Yeah.
that's like unrelated to the actual book, but and because it is being made into movies, how come so many of the video game movies have failed?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Why do you guys think that is? That video game movies, at least up to this
I
point,
was,
I think it's
I was
gonna
hoping
stop.
you would answer the question.
No, I was gonna pass it off to you
I
guys.
honestly think because they're not good.
not
They're
the-
not that the
Yeah,
story.
like superhero movies weren't always good.
The
and then
story
they hit
is
their heyday.
yeah. It's
Yeah, no,
not
I think
that
it is
great.
too. Like people
It-
think about superhero movies nowadays as like, of course they would be amazing,
Right.
but like I feel like that it was really just
Well-
Iron Man kind of changed the game a ton,
No,
as well as the
Blade.
Batman movies.
Blade started
Blade.
that fool. Blade started. it.
Well,
You don't
I
get
think it's
you
kind
don't
of
get
like
Spider-Man
what
without
we're talking
Blade.
about with Peter Jackson taking his Zelda movie. Like you need a very strong.
Shit.
Yeah, but the Killing Joke is not good because it's dark.
one.
Kurigari says video game movies fail because the directors don't know jack about the game.
That's probably true to
I
some
think
extent.
I think that's
extent,
gotta. You have to care about the story. Well, I mean, we'll see how the Assassin's Creed movie does
Yeah, I
with
think
Fassbender.
Yeah.
I think. Now,
Zelda
you also could think about the latest Street Fighter Assassin's.
Watch, you're
Fist.
gonna try to almost win this
That
game.
that,
Oh, is the-
that
Yeah.
Street Fighter fans really like it because the story is
I thought those were great.
solid. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna almost beat this game, and then.
Hello there.
Hold on.
She had to go enter a singing contest that her mom just called her up about, and that's why she's
No,
been
I was
gone.
listening. I heard that, and that was amazing.
I'm almost gonna beat this game, and then Xander's gonna turn it off. Watch.
Yeah, it has to be made with the fan sensibility,
Yeah.
but with somebody who can get a blockbuster made and be able to get the leash to do some things their way.
Jennifer, he asked the question: why do video game movies? Why do they fail? Why are they
filmmaker wants to make their version of the video game story when the story that the video game players fell in love with and immersed themselves in is the story of the video game.
Right.
So I mean, it's so easy.
But I don't feel like the Tomb Raider movie or Hitman or any of the others were like, oh, this was the director really showing the story in his way, and this is not jiving with my memory of these games. Like, I didn't feel like that was the reason that they didn't work.
Well, you know what? It is an interesting conundrum. Like Mortal Kombat, I will argue, with the Mortal Kombat movie, the original one, it's probably the best video game
it's
movie
really
ever
true
made.
to the tone of the
That's exactly
of the game.
It's exactly the movie. I mean, exactly the game, and it's just matchup after matchup. You're giving people exactly what they want. Versus, like, people hate the Resident Evil movies. People hate Silent Hill or the new Silent Hills because they deviate so much. When it's like, why mess with the story that was?
Well, I think part of the problem too is
Oh, enough with these fools.
because you said that they don't really stick with the story, which is kind of true, but different iterations change it. The ones that are the most like Fable-like and follow that hero's arc and like have that in their DNA are a lot of the Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Like, and because Nintendo doesn't allow that licensing to happen,
Yeah.
I feel like there'd be a greater chance of success with the Donkey Kong movie or a Mario movie or a Kirby movie or a Zelda movie than there would be with Resident Evil and a lot of those ones we
That's
discussed,
true.
because those are less fairy tale-like, and it's
And they're less, I mean, generally less story-based. They're more gimmick-based, right? Like the gimmick of Resident Evil is the zombie, or not the zombie, but the contagion thing.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's really going to change in the
Yeah?
next few years. I think the superhero movies have paved the way for that in a lot of ways whenever people are ready to take the mantle. And there's a lot of properties that have been recently gone into development, and I just got to think that it's such a great untapped or not properly tapped area.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I don't know.
There was a
if
Mario movie.
Yes, there
Nintendo
was.
would like you to forget that, but there was.
Did you ever play Heavy Rain?
I watched
You
the
watched
story.
it.
Yeah.
I do that with all the Silent Hill movies. I mean,
Okay.
sorry, games, because
Yeah.
they're too scary for me to play.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
really scared.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But,
So you mentioned Blade, and I was like, I kind of saw part of that, but I was hiding my head. I don't like I hate
He
scary
makes the
movies.
weapons. I use them.
Heavy Rain was great. One of the best trailers
Oh
I've
yeah.
ever seen.
Oh, it was beautiful. And I heard that the movie's in development.
Keep
I don't
coming
know
out
if
of the
that's
train,
true
I'll keep killing
anymore.
you.
Wow.
But that would be a movie that would just do it like the game.
Yeah.
Please don't mess with anything. Just film it from beginning to end the way
Especially
the game was.
Sean.
Yes. Jason.
Jason.
Wait, who's
I'm
this
trying to
fool?
think also, I think like the superhero movies, they have that hook. You can describe it in a sentence, the log line or the
that's
elevator pitch,
record.
and you kind of
Yeah.
get it like, okay, Tony Stark is a millionaire, weapons heir, runs his company, and he's, in this situation where he has to make a suit and he's a genius.
Yeah.
I described it very poorly, but there is the one sentence description that I feel like with games, that's not really how they're
Wait.
selling it.
Yeah.
It is usually the
How do I get
gameplay
more
or the
credit?
great graphics. And the story, the better ones have great stories, but that
Yeah.
not like the concept
There you go.
hook. Like, imagine if you were in a world of sea lions and you were a fish. Like, something ridiculous, but something that really gives you that.
I'm just cheating now. I got Bushwhacker in the corner.
The easy logline thing.
I think you should
situation.
always walk
Yeah.
around with a microphone.
Yeah.
It like look great on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like a professional reporter with the
Yeah.
suit. Yeah.
Like
What
when
if
you
I
go
hold
on
it like
dates.
this? See, this
like-
changes everything when I hold
How
it
do you
like
feel?
this.
Oh yeah.
I don't think. They
Well,
can
that
see
makes
on
it look
camera.
like you're either
Freestyling?
freestyling or announcing in the middle of a boxing ring.
Okay, and
Kingpin's
then if
Rad,
I go
here we
like
go.
this.
This might be the last
Now you
level.
look very Asian.
Yeah.
Now, and you're very nervous karaoke singer.
Okay. Yes. You're fighting him.
Hi.
I'm
See, I
someone's
would
hero.
watch a Last of Us movie. And
Yeah.
to me, it was very much movie-like. It had
Yeah.
a journey, and
Well, one thing that'll be interesting to see is the Mario movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie sucked. I think we can all agree, but it was there was a translation from a cartoon-like game to a live-action film.
Yeah.
Heavy Rain, and a lot of these games,
They're
they
just-
are
they
movie.
film.
They're
It's
very
already-
cinematic in
you're
themselves,
right.
and it's almost
That's
like
right.
if it's the same thing, you're like,
piece of
I
cake.
already played this game.
Yeah, that's
and if it's
true.
different, it's not true to it. So that is really a big part of the challenge.
Have you seen that new Mercedes commercial with Mario?
He just showed
Oh,
me.
I
okay.
showed him the
Yeah,
picture,
yeah.
so he.
Because
Cast
I was
that
saying
guy.
that
Yeah,
Nintendo, in addition to making great games, they should really be trying to do more with their IPs for those of us that grew up with it and are older
Yeah.
and still I have a Wii U and I love it, but
Yeah.
I would watch a TV show that was a little bit darker or
Yeah.
Mario as a detective, a private eye. Like, I don't know, something that...
But it's not made for you anymore. It'd be made for kids.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's made, but it could be made for making money and for Nintendo staying in the console business.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
And
that be
use
for
it.
kids?
But why?
Because
Wherever there's
because
demand,
look at how
there's-
much a Pixar movie makes. Look how much a superhero movie makes. Like, those are all kids stuff.
but a superhero movie is not for kids.
Absolutely, it's for kids. Avengers is for kids.
No
we
way.
just like it because we're adults too.
It's for big kids.
No.
The Avengers movie is for kids. You know how many kids go to see the Spider-Man movies, and like kids go see those movies. And when you were a kid, you went to see those movies too.
Yeah.
You saw the Star Wars.
The
You
Star Wars.
You saw the Star Wars, and you watched them movies. Those movies are
April
for kids.
Ozang.
A Mario movie should be akin to a
Yellow
Pixar film.
jumpsuit.
Wreck-It Ralph should be a freaking Mario movie.
Yes.
So it's Transformers.
The Transforminators. The top grossing movies of them years is the Transforminators, and you can't find a more kid-friendly movie than them. You don't even know what's happening on the screen, but them kids do. Yeah, the Transformer
London.
movies are almost like unrecognizable as anything, and they're like experimental films, but they are the top office grossing movies of those years, and they are absolutely full of kids. Yes, you'd have to make a movie for kids.
Well,
a
I'm not.
four-quadrant film, if you will. A four-quadrant
I'm not
film.
saying let's
quad.
cut off some
Gotta hit the
quadrants at the expense of the four.
Is,
but
is the Console Wars going to be a four-quadrant film?
it's
Which is
gonna,
the, like,
it's gonna be a
word.
5-quadrant film.
Whoa.
Oh, what's
Oh,
the fifth quadrant?
yeah.
What's the
Oh,
fifth
unborn
quadrant?
children?
I can't reveal that. Until
People have
the
been
end of the
trying to
Yes.
tap the unborn child.
Are you
show.
sick
We're
of
really
that
getting
phrase?
into the
you sick of
dead,
that
the
market?
undead, and the unborn child market.
Are you sick of that buzzword, the four-quadrant film?
No, because I don't live in LA, and that's part of the reason I
the
don't live in LA.
four-quadrant film. Yeah, it's a four-quadrant film. I was at a cookout with somebody, and he was like, "Yeah, it's a four-quadrant."
No, I'm just
film."
sick of this
And I
meets
was
that.
like, "Shut up with your four-quadrant. It's not a four-quadrant film.
So how long have you guys been here?
It's a four-quadrant film."
How long have you been here in this
The
office
Punisher's a
broadcasting?
four-quadrant game.
Well, the Twin Galaxies Live launched April 28th. But it was a conversion
guys are dead,
of
right?
Leaf Lounge Live, which has been running
These
for
surf
about a
bums
year and a
need to
half.
die already.
So we've been broadcasting, but we don't count the first few months of that experiment because it was on Tiny Chat. So we were competing with nightly penises.
That's a
and-
battle you're never gonna win.
And
Trying
an
to-
occasional boob.
Listen, there's no better feeling.
So why don't
It's
you just
better with
win in
quotation
Rome?
marks. Quotation marks around
One in
it.
Rome.
Show a
One in
little
Rome.
tit?
We're in a row.
Be like, you show us Leaf
Oh,
Lounge Live.
made
You
a
show
good
us
point about
yours.
Angry
we'll
Birds
show you.
movie.
Yeah,
Are
that,
they?
that won't be massively ridiculous.
It's going to be awful.
Ridiculous.
It'll be like real.
I think that could be good only because
Wait, this guy
there's-
has an axe. Oh,
there's-
same.
whoever does this is gonna have a lot of discretion because what's the story, the template
true.
they have to adhere to? I mean, they're just
Are they going to have feet, do you think?
You don't know the story of the Angry Bird?
Or are they going
This
to...
sounds like a YouTube short instead
Get away
of
from me! Get away from
a
me!
whole
Get away from
movie.
me, fire guy! Until I will harness your fire.
I mean, I'm gonna
will
see it if
harness
the
you.
bomber guy's in it. I love that guy.
That guy's pretty...
Yeah.
That feeling you
that
get
guy's
when
pretty special. Yep.
Now I harness the
Yes,
flame.
there's no better feeling as a
Dude, check
producer
this
than
out.
having
I'm gonna light some people
a
up.
star that you booked that it was really hard to get and having them show up in your broadcast and then somebody's random penis showing up next to them
Look,
in the
I'm gonna
camera
light him
slot.
up. Light him up.
Nothing like that. Makes you feel real professional.
It's a good one.
Thank
How
you,
did they
Tiny
react
Chat.
at the time?
Well, we used to try to ban the penises very quickly, but
But then we
they-
just let them flop around for
Yeah.
the entire broadcast.
production value.
Free production
we got a
value.
real penis
These
in here.
days, you got to pay for penises. But
So, have you guys been to E3 this
Oh,
week?
I
I
had
was
an
there
ninja
today.
star and I threw it
Yeah.
away.
What do you think?
My general impression of the expo itself was that it was a lot more professional this year. Last year there was a lot more spectacle. There were a lot more people running around, like
Well,
there's
now they're
like
checking
more.
for IDs and like.
Yeah, now they're look at you're playing a retro game. This is where we live.
Yeah, no, but I was.
Forever in the past, here at Twin Galaxies Live.
It does seem like only a matter of time before
No, I got away from that.
VR becomes either a major focus or just a big part of the industry.
Yeah.
And so
And then a bunch of-
the timetable in my head is before it even really started to crop up. But to see that they actually had that big of a
Wait,
space.
I went into a sewer tunnel
And
and
that
ended up
they-
here.
well, they got
Yeah, they
Facebook
hired-
money now.
No, I know. And they brought
then-
on Jason Rubin
This
earlier
is
this week
Yeah.
from Naughty
Yeah.
Dog. Like that was, to me, when I
Wow.
was seeing people saying, "Oh, what was the biggest news of the week?" Was it Nintendo's new games? The focus of the press conference. I kind of felt like that was big because that means
Yeah.
like they're in it to win it. Like
Pretty big.
Yeah.
Jason knows what he's doing, and
I kept hearing that. Yeah, I kept hearing that they're in it to win it. But you know what? We're now just tiny little baby steps away from a million different nightmare scenarios happening. Now that VR is becoming the thing. Like
Why's that every
every
Ready Player One?
predictive, yeah, exactly. Like every predictive, like apocalyptic movie that starts with like people wanting
The
to live in
Lawnmower Man?
virtual reality. Yep, Lawnmower Man right there.
Which
I
just means I
remember
can now
that.
stalk people through
It begins
Facebook and be in
now.
their room while I do it.
it means we can also start our business. We are going to start a VR in VR company.
Whoa.
Ooh.
So we're going to start selling like our own Oculus inside of there. So
That's so
sort of a third
Oh,
Nice.
I like it.
reality.
Well, listen.
And then we
you-
can control the real
Inception.
estate?
You just
Yes.
Inception. Yeah.
Yep. Now, do you ever dabble? We'll stay we'll touch briefly on this topic. Have you ever played in Second Life?
I have.
Yeah.
After that episode of The Office,
Yeah,
where
with
Dwight was a paper salesman in Second Life.
Yeah.
At first I had never heard of it, so I thought it was made up, and then
Yeah.
I found out it was real,
Yeah.
and then I played it.
Were you a writer in Second Life?
Except he had a
working
I was a
guitar on his
successful
side.
writer, because back then I was certainly not a successful writer.
Yeah.
And we had this Japanese guy with a guitar who was our lackey.
Twin Galaxies Live.
Second Life was really interesting, and being on The Office, I thought like, oh, this, that's pretty good cultural reference.
Yeah.
But I didn't think much of it again until I read Ready Player One,
Yeah,
and I
it
was
was
like,
that.
there is definitely a possibility of the whole world becoming this kind of world, especially with VR and
Yeah.
our world's kind of falling apart.
That
Yeah.
one.
Well, thank goodness. Second Life has failed. No, I'm just kidding. It's.
here.
Did you ever play it?
Deep. I was deep in Second Life. I had
Really?
like a shopping center with like some
No way, no
active
way.
commerce.
Did you spend money or make money?
Initially I was making money, and then I could see the decline of Second Life by that ratio of like earnings versus costs, right? Because I was at the height of my
She was
second.
making money in Second Life.
Oh yeah,
I know.
selling beers and tank tops. Beers and tank tops.
And why were people buying that?
Well, because the main thing is the beers. Actually, I built them so they had animations in them. So
Okay.
you could purchase a beer, and then if you equipped it, you could walk
In
around.
Amsterdam, I had one of those. For
Yeah?
real.
Yeah,
Yes, a real one.
No.
with animation.
but you walk around holding it, and people
Enough with this.
incorporated it into their avatar's image. It's like, I'm that cool, chill person drinking a beer. So my avatar was a little Asian schoolgirl, not gonna lie, drinking beers. And she occasionally, my
wonder why that
funnest
was
thing to do
popular.
was
I wonder why that was popular in Second Life.
Asian schoolgirls.
With drinking beer, yeah. I wonder why they took off.
I think it was just party settings. People, like, a lot of it was social, like, little fake party settings.
Pedo
and-
life.
Yeah. What? Did you say pedo life?
Yeah.
Like, I had a beer where you could offer it to a small child.
Yes.
That was one of my, and that was how I
Wait,
spent
why
every
not?
Saturday night. Because I started off as a pretty girl, and then
Yeah.
I would teleport, and I would equip my Joker skin. And they didn't want to get busy with Joker.
So why did you do it?
Because it was
messing with people.
Second Life has been the most fascinating social experiment.
Yeah, that's why I loved doing
Yeah,
this.
it was amazing. Oh, do you watch Firefly?
No.
Did you watch Firefly or
No.
Serenity? No, never mind then. The story won't be relevant.
Oh, well, it was kind of one of those things that like I've been saving up because I know that
Oh, it's
I'm gonna
yeah,
love it, and so I want to just binge watch it. And
yeah. There's a little
You can
You
community
can do that
in
now. There's
Second
no more
Life.
coming ever.
Yeah, ever.
Despite
Oh.
with that sad kid at Comic Con.
no.
Wow.
But I just mean like I recently watched every episode of Mad Men and caught up, so
Dude,
I
that
would
came
like
over.
to do it.
Classy,
You lost?
Yeah, stupid thing beat me. I didn't even.
classy choice,
I
sir.
could have used a friend.
Now let me.
I could have used a friend, Blake. I could have
countdown
used a
is-
friend.
He's fixing it right now, I think.
Yeah. Breaking news: Sony is developing a live. Or I thought it was CGI only,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it looks like we
they're
have
developing
about a
this-
minute left.
Oh, okay. Well then.
Oh, let's get them all in.
Well, guys, we want to thank Mr. Blake Harris for sharing some of his insights on the console wars and his book by the same name. You can get it right now everywhere. Amazon, anywhere you buy books. I'm sure you can find Console Wars also as an audio book.
Yes, as well.
And feel free to ask me any questions about it at Blake J. Harris NYC on Twitter. I love talking about the book. That's how I found John over there.
Yeah.
And if you hate it,
so
please
you
tell
respond
me.
to tweets. People can actually tweet you, and you respond.
I feel compelled to, because I feel like I told you at the beginning that I am honored to tell this story, and that I'm kind of lucky enough to be the one who did. So I feel like it is bestowed upon me to actually answer questions and make sure that people get the most out of the experience.
Great power, great responsibility.
Yes.
All right, guys, well, stay tuned. We have the comic book show up next, and a special surprise. It is our 1-year anniversary, so make sure you tune in past the commercial break.
Surprise.
Did I?
Damn
Damn it! All
They have a
right.
calendar. They know it.
Well, another great thank you to Mr. Blake Harris and to Jonathan London, who for guest hosting. Jonathan London from
Thank you,
Geekscape.
John.
Jaundice.
Yeah.
Jundin.
Just call me
We'll
Jaundice.
be right back, guys.
Slow motion exit.
When I step into the secret laboratory, I throw a Hadouken.
Look at Green Donut. Oh, I f***ing got him, I f***ing got him, I f***ing got him, I f***ing got 47 assists. He actually